What is going on, fellas? With the $0 tax stamp finally in place, there are a lot of people who have never even thought about owning suppressors actually going out and getting suppressors now. And with that comes a lot of people who are about to spend money on things they don't actually need. One of those main things is suppressor quick disconnect mounts, or QD mounts. Anybody who has ever talked to me about this, I always tell them I think that QD mounts are one of the biggest wastes of money in the gun industry. And before any of you guys come at me saying, dude, you're 22 years old, you've barely been able to own suppressors for a year, what do you know about suppressors? You're right, I've barely been able to own suppressors for a year, but ever since I turned 21, I have bought 7 suppressors. I got 6 in front of me. I got number 8 on the way as my very first tax-free suppressor, so we'll see how the wait times are on that. But I have quite a bit of personal experience, and I am an absolute research nerd, especially whenever it comes to this stuff. So, I know a little bit about this stuff, so let's talk about it. Whenever you first get into suppressors, QD sounds perfect. Quick on, quick off, one suppressor, multiple rifles. You're probably picturing in your head you're just swapping cans between rifles every range trip like you're some sort of suppressed tactical ninja. But here's the reality. You're not a suppressed tactical ninja, and direct thread is a better option for most shooters. All right, let's be honest about the word quick. With direct thread, all you do is you spin on your can, hand tighten it, and you're done. On most guns, it'll probably take 10 to 15 seconds to direct thread a suppressor on. But with the QD, you gotta line up your mount, you gotta twist it, you gotta lock it, you gotta check your lock, you gotta, sometimes you gotta fight carbon lock. All that. Congratulations, you saved what, 5 seconds? If you're on a public range or you're hunting or you're casually shooting, what's the rush for? QD isn't slow, but it's not meaningfully faster than direct thread for most shooters. So you save 5 seconds, but at what cost? If your suppressor came with a QD, use it to your heart's content, I don't care. But most suppressors come with a direct thread, and if you want to switch to QD, you got to find some sort of hub compatible QD mount, which is going to cost you like $150 to $300. And then you got to buy a muzzle device for all your rifles to use with your suppressor. Each of those muzzle devices are like $80 to $150. So if you buy 4 muzzle devices for 4 of your rifles to use with one suppressor, congratulations, you literally could have bought another suppressor with how much money you spent, maybe even 2. Now, some of you may be saying that direct thread doesn't work well because there's no way to lock your suppressor onto your gun, and while you're shooting, it might walk off. To that, I present to you the rubber strap wrench or the oil filter wrench. These things work great, and they're really cheap. I have these linked in my Amazon storefront down in the description. I think it's like 12 bucks for a 2-pack. And what I always do, I just like to put my rifle between my legs. You can't really see it, but throw the wrench on your suppressor and you just hand tighten it. And I have literally never had any sort of issue with a suppressor walking off my gun. I shoot a lot and I shoot fast. No issues at all. Make sure to go down into the comments below and let me know if you're team direct thread or team QD, and tell me why. I'd love to hear all your explanations. If you haven't already, make sure to like the video, hype it up, send it to your buddies, and make sure to subscribe to support the channel. Let's get back to the video. Now, some of you may be saying, hey, I got a 30 cal can with a 5/8 by 24 thread, so I can throw it on my 308 or my 300 blackout, but I also want to throw it on my 223, which is a 1/2 by 28 thread, so I just got to buy a whole QD system to be able to move my can between guns. No, you don't. I present to you the adapter. This is a 5/8 by 24 to 1/2 by 28 adapter, and I throw one of those on pretty much every single gun that I have that's not a 5/8 by 24 gun. So this right here is my Crown Precision 223 Wild with a 1/2 by 28 thread pitch. So I just threw an adapter on here and it lives on this gun. So this gun essentially now has a 5/8 by 24 thread pitch. So I no longer have that issue. Now, I wouldn't recommend cheaping out on these. You can buy some knockoff adapters on Amazon for like $5, but you don't know how their machining process is. You don't know how tight their tolerances are. Suppressors are a very big investment, so I wouldn't risk getting a cheap one. I would get something reputable from like Silencer Shop, Silencer Central. The one that's on my Crown Precision actually came with one of my Lone Star suppressors, so I would recommend spending that $15-30 just to make sure you don't get a baffle strike. Quick shameless plug, if you would like to own your own land, I am a realtor that specializes in home and land sales in the DFW and Northeast Texas area. If you're interested, my information is down in the description below. I'd love to help you out. Another thing that nobody talks about is consistency and point of impact shift. Once you introduce a QD, you introduce more interfaces, more tolerance stacking, more variables, and just extra points of failure. And whenever you start taking hands off and back on, I have definitely seen point of impact shifts between taking it on and off, and it's just not as consistent as direct thread. With direct thread, it's suppressor to barrel, and that's it. I am constantly taking suppressors off guns, and I have literally never once had an issue with consistency because simplicity is king. Now, a lot of people, including myself, buy their first can thinking they only need one and they can move it from gun to gun. In reality, you're probably going to get addicted and you're going to start buying cans for specific hosts, and they're going to live on that gun, so you literally have no use for a QD because it's just going to stick on that gun. Even me, I'm always moving cans just because I'm always testing stuff. I don't need a QD. This direct thread stuff still works just fine. All right, final thoughts from someone who's used QD, used direct thread, and chooses direct thread every single time. I think most people who buy QD buy it because they think they need it, and very few people buy because they actually do need it. Let me know down into the comments below what you think are some actual good case use scenarios where QD outweighs direct thread. But now, since that there's this new $0 tax stamp, I'd rather spend all that money instead of on QDs, on suppressors. Be that cool guy in the group that has all the suppressors. Have a blessed day, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.